So in my company last year, I think we had 12 people, and I told them, I said, before the end of the year, nobody is going to have a job here unless you are client-facing, relationship-based. If there is a part of your job that can be outsourced or done by technology, I'm going to have to let you go. So come to me. I'll create a department. We'll create a service, whatever it is. You have to take that initiative.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fantastic one. Our guest is known for helping accounting professionals build scalable, saleable businesses without burnout, and she is the author of Unfollow The Rules, the messy truth about burnout, bad decisions, and building it until it worked. Sharrin Fuller, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, well, welcome. And I know we've had you on before. And for those listeners that don't know you yet, they can go and search and find the other episodes, and we'll have those in the show notes. But for the ones that are here and just want to get to it, tell us a little bit about you and your career journey leading up to this point and writing this book.
Yeah, actually, that's a whole entire book, right? It is a journey of how I got to where I am, and I started out honestly in sales, customer service, and then ended up with an accounting firm. Grew that, sold it, decided to leave. I started a new accounting firm. Thought I learned a lot from the first one, and just started making the same mistakes over and over again, and to the point where I was like, what am I doing? I teach this. I go to conferences and I get paid to teach this, yet I am doing it. So I took a step back and said, okay, I'm going to be my own client. And within, I think it took about 3 to 6 months, we turned everything around. And I was like, oh, well, cool. It works. At least I'm not full of it. So that's kind of where I am now. And I just sold my firm again. I know. I started the second one because it's what I've done for so long, since 2006, and then when I sold my first firm and exited from the firm that acquired us, a lot of people are like, wait, where are you going? So I'm like, okay, I'll start another one. It's easy. I've done it. And then I realized my passion just wasn't there anymore because I'd done it. And then once we got it to where it was just so smooth, to where I'm working 3 hours a week in and on the business, I thought, okay, now I'm bored. I want to do something else. So now I focus my time 100% in education. I have a community, really working with accountants and accounting firm owners on how to grow and do things the easy way. Efficiency and process is kind of where my brain lives, and technology.
Beautiful. And maybe that's a good start for getting into, because we've kind of got the nutshell.
Yeah.
But let's maybe talk a little bit about why you wrote this book, and then a little bit about that journey.
Absolutely. I really do love writing. And oddly, I've always loved writing, and essays were my favorite in high school, right? Every time they're like, we have to write an essay, I'm like, yay. In fact, I would enter competitive essay writing. Wow. And then when I tell people my story, everyone's like, you should write a book about that. I thought, okay, I will. So I did. And my level of ADHD made writing this book a whole other story, because I have this problem with being extremely vulnerable and transparent, and I overshare. So as I'm writing this book, I just want to give the details on everything. And I think that was the hardest part for me, because I'm really just trying to say, look, here's where I started. I didn't go to college. I've worked since I was 10 at a paper route. Here's what I learned from all these little jobs and selling, telemarketing and door to door, and how I ended up with an accounting firm, and then how I grew that accounting firm. And it was really just supposed to be more of a realist journey for people that maybe didn't go to college to get a CPA, or, the ones that feel like they have imposter syndrome. I really wanted them to see where I started, where I came from, and where I ended up, which kind of feels the weirdest to me to, gloat or something like that. But where I ended up and just my journey of how to do it, to let people know, hey, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I didn't come from money. I didn't come from education. I didn't come from family support. Nothing. It's just a will to not, do what everybody else has done in my life.
Yes. And so running an accounting firm, that is a remarkable journey into running an accounting firm. Like most people say, what? Because it's not the traditional journey to running the accounting firm. So how did you get there? Like, was it you? I'd love to know that. I mean, I was about to did you do this? How about I just ask you, what the heck happened there? How'd you do that?
I try to explain to people how I see things. I don't know if you've ever seen the movies where when somebody's thinking things out and they see all the lines in front of them and they put it all together. It's kind of how my brain works.
Yes.
And numbers have always just been easy for me. And I've always loved puzzles. I think that's a big thing is here's all these messy pieces. Let's put it together. Let's make it make sense. Right. And again, numbers have just been my thing. So when I still to this day, I can open up someone's financial statement and tell them the entire story of their life, of their business, everything, whether or not it's going to fail or succeed just by looking at that. And that is, I feel like that is a quality that you have or you don't. I even feel like if you go to school to be an accountant, you're not necessarily going to pick up that quality. It's some people have, schooling or not. And when I originally, honestly, I was in customer service, I was a manager, I was all those things. And then I get bored. And so I got my nail license, my manicurist license. And after having that, I thought I'm just going to own my own salon. This is easy, right? And then when I owned my salon, I had employees and I had to figure out payroll and how to do all these things. But this was in 2002. There wasn't I didn't know what a software was. So I kind of had to learn. I think I was using Quicken on a Square Macintosh. Yeah. And I just kind of learned it from there, from the salon. And I thought, oh, this is so easy. I actually enjoyed running the business more than I did actually working in the business, even though I had a full nail clientele. So then I ended up buying another salon, then ended up with an accounting firm. It's just, it's a really weird journey I've been all over the place. But again, I know I say it a lot, but I do like to tell people that I am one of those crazy ADHD people that their brain is just always in 5 million places. I have a little bit of OCD and I'm definitely a type A perfectionist. So I probably don't operate like everybody, but I'm also not medicated. We'll just take that.
Yes.
I'm worried that if I was to take some sort of stimulant, it would calm me down. And I'm I have 15 projects open. I got to figure those out first.
I was just speaking to a friend recently, and their child was diagnosed with mild ADHD. Mm-hmm. And the conversation of medication, and they had the conversation with their child, and child's like, I like me. I like all my gifts. I don't want to.
Same.
I like who I am. And that is beautiful.
It defines you, right? I mean, but it doesn't have to negatively define you. I'm a lot for some people and my brain works different than some people, but that's okay. I mean, that's okay.
That's right.
But it does, it definitely, I didn't know till I was older that I don't want to turn this into an ADHD conversation, but I didn't probably know medically until about 4 years ago that I was ADHD, until my doctor said, nobody's told you, it's in your file. I'm like, no. And she said, but it's probably because you've always said I don't want medication. And I've always joked I'm obviously ADHD. So my doctor, when I went from one state to the other, just assumed I knew. And then she's like, honey, have you bet you? I'm like, oh, okay. But now I feel justified in reading books and finding out the way my brain thinks. But either way, I wasn't always this as I am now.
Yeah, I think the point is that it's you have gifts. Everybody has gifts, and you sort of work around. And everybody also has, the things that might be gifts that seem like constraints. And so we're dealt with our hand, and we play that hand. And if you can figure out how to play the best parts of your
Yes.
hand, you come out more often the winner and less often not. So I think it's always interesting hearing those stories because everyone can relate. They've got things that they're good at, not good at. And if you focus on your strengths and you use those to your advantage, then, things can happen for you.
I wish I had I know we're going to background, but my husband's ADD, and I always wish I had his gift of chill, because I'm very high strung, and he's just like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, it's the end of the world. And so I'm just saying the grass is always greener.
So he's ADD.
Yes. We're an interesting couple.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
He's here and I'm here,
That's they say the opposites attract. So,
yes.
It's probably, it doesn't, it sounds like that's a perfect match made in heaven. So
fortunately, yes.
Yeah. There you go. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have worked out.
No.
Because you both sound like you're on those, you've got your superpower and he's got his, and they work well together.
His superpower is bringing me back down to earth. Easy one. So.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, so we got a kind of a backstory a little bit here. So let's get into a couple of the points of what you talk about, which is we often, people talk about growth, and people think growth is, I got to work harder. I got to hire more people. Yep. How do you talk about scaling smarter. What does that look like? How do you put that into words?
More clients, higher profit, same amount of people. If I can bring on 5 more clients without hiring another person, without adding any more to my, to my overhead, that is success. Because when you go to conferences and such, and you talk to people, you're like, oh, you have a firm? How big is it? They measure that by either how much money, what's the revenue, or how many people, or what's your employee count. And to me, when somebody says, oh, I have 100, I'm like, how you need 2 people just to manage 100 people, at least 2 people. And for me, I'm thinking the day and age that we're in and the amount of technology we have and systems and everything, there's just no point, which is sad for for humans in general. But it's not that I'm trying to not give people jobs. It's that I'm trying to make their job matter. So in my company last year, I think we had 12 people, and I told them, I said, before the end of the year, nobody is going to have a job here unless you are client-facing, relationship-based. If there is a part of your job that can be outsourced or done by technology, I'm going to have to let you go. So come to me. I'll create a department. We'll create a service, whatever it is. You have to take that initiative, because I personally feel like that's where it's going. That's where our clients are. They see everything on Facebook saying, oh, we'll do your books for $197. You never have to talk to anybody. Well, great. That's what they want. They don't want to pay us for bookkeeping. They want to pay us for advisory, for that. Make me feel better that, my business is doing good. More of the consulting and, client advisory. CAS is a huge hot topic in accounting for the past couple of years. But yeah, so that's kind of what we did. And I narrowed it down to 2 people from 12. And honestly, we have the same amount of clients, in fact, more. And those 2 people do less work than they did when there were 12 of us. So it was just really almost disappointing to me that just as we got busier, I'm like, just hire another person, just get it off my plate, hire another person. I wasn't solving, I was band-aiding with another person who didn't know how to do their job. And it's just a filler, right? So we stopped filling and we started solving, and we still do that. And it's just it's so smooth. We just had I go on vacation next week through January 10th, and we just had our end of year call, and they're like, no, everything's good. We're just prepping for sending out the 1099 reminder on Friday, and on January 15th, the tax binder will go out to everybody. But no, we're good. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas.
Very good. Well, it sounds remarkable, and I'm sure lots of that is packed into the book, which is exciting, and I'm thinking it's a good track to continue with that, which is in the book, you talk about encouraging business owners to challenge traditional thinking. So I'm not surprised based on our conversation so far, but tell us a little bit about that and this idea of, the need to unfollow ideas, I guess, is kind of the concept.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this day and age, with the access we have to the internet and each other's ideas and the brainstorming that we can do easily, it just changes how we did everything so many years ago. 20 years ago, we had to go to a breakfast club meeting in the morning and maybe talk to some other professionals who didn't want to give up what they're doing because, your competition. Now we have all these amazing communities and groups where we can brainstorm, and we're no longer competition because we're all easily accessible. And it's just, it honestly is about, to me, anything I do is, this is going to sound ridiculous, but money always comes, right? To me, it's about doing what you love and then finding a way to make money on it. And again, I say that sensitively because I know that doesn't go everywhere. But for what I do, I always think, what brings me happiness? What do I want to do? Okay, so this is the normal path of how to do it. I don't think that's right. This sounds terrible. I think there's a better way to do it. So growing up, my dad always taught me to question everything and don't accept no as an answer. And he probably should have been a little bit more specific with that, because I did. I questioned everything. When a teacher would say, don't do that, I'd be like, why? And they'd say, because I said so. And that wasn't acceptable to me. Like, even now to this day, why no? Well, because ABC. Okay, I don't agree with that, but at least that's a reason. And I understand. It just allows you to make better decisions that work for yourself. There's just so many ways to do things. And I always feel like if you're comfortable in what you're doing and every day you're like, oh, it's just so easy, you're not challenging yourself. And some people love that comfortability, and there's nothing wrong with that. For me, I don't. Comfortability to me is like idle hands or the devil's plaything. I need to be
Yes.
uncomfortable. And especially in companies that I have, if I'm doing something and I'm not uncomfortable and insecure about what I'm doing, probably means I'm not challenging myself. And I think as business owners and such, as again, with AI and technology the way it is, we have to challenge ourselves. We have to think outside the box. We need to do things that the other people aren't doing, because that's how you make waves. That's how you revolutionize. That's how you pave a new path for the other people that think like you, but maybe don't have the strength at this point yet to pave the way. So it is kind of fun to say, hey, I'm going to do this. And everybody say, Sharrin, that's a terrible idea. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm going to give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. Great. And then we can all do it. And yeah, so in the long run, it's what makes me happy. And honestly, what makes me happy is what makes other people happy and what helps other people. And if I could just sit around and just help everybody and just give advice all day long and not charge for it, I would. So maybe I'll find somebody to like pay off my mortgage and put some money in an account, and I'll just like sit around helping people all day long. But yes, so problem solving is fun for me. I think I took that question and threw it all over the place.
No, it's all good. And the often the thinking around the way things are and the way things could be, especially in today's world with the rate of change as it is, we anybody who's older than 10 thinks at a certain speed, right? And it's like, we got a fax machine. We've got email. These are decade changes. Yeah. And it's kind of like, okay, things are changing, but it's not like changing like in front of your eyes. Whereas today, it is. Yeah, absolutely. And so it's like there really is a need to constantly question the way we think, because we could be thinking fax kind of thinking. Yeah. Or even before, like telegraph thinking, or before that is like, send a pigeon thinking.
I like to say that sometimes.
And so
what did you send it, pigeon carrier?
Yeah. We may not realize it, but our view of the world is being constantly challenged. If we don't thinking about it, it's like we could be sort of stuck. Absolutely. So I love that thinking, and we have to keep challenging the way we think, and actually the speed at which we think as well. Getting back to like your situation as well, people are often talking about hiring people. You're talking about, becoming more efficient, removing staff,
quality, not
reallocating,
quantity,
if you will.
Yeah.
So quality. So tell us a little bit about that. And you talked about outsourcing. How do you make decisions on what you're going to outsource, what you're not?
Absolutely. So what I started to do is, instead of adding more people that could do little things, I started just investing in the people that I want on my team and making them stronger. I want them to love working for me, with me, being part of the team, instead of just having, a few people here and there doing different things. So I was able to actually, with a smaller team, work closer, teach them more, get more off my plate, ask them what they want to do. So that's kind of where I started. Is I said, okay, what do I absolutely, let's pretend like I have no money. What do I absolutely have to have? What can I do? What do I need to have? And that's how I scaled down. And then from there, I burnt it all down. And then one by one, we started adding. And as we added, I said, okay, is this something that technology can do? Oh, look, it can, $50 a month. Just saved, 20 hours a month in this employee's time. And then once we did all that, then we were able to go, okay, here's what's left on the table. What do you want to do? And that was important to me. When you own a business, it's not just about what you love and what you want to do. It's about your team, because you don't have a business if it's not your team. So asking my team, what do you want to do? What's your ideal job? If you could work here forever, what would you be doing? And I let them give me that list. And then we develop their role based on that. And so now they're happy when they come to work, and we reevaluate. I ask them all the time, but we usually seriously reevaluate it about every 6 months. Where are you at? Did anything change? And when it comes to outsourcing, it's typically anything that technology can't do, but isn't client facing. Example we outsourced, and I use the term outsource lightly. We do have 2 part-time people that are in, I think, India, but they work directly with us. I don't use a third party company, and they do just our data entry and our reconciliation. I don't yet trust any software to do that correctly without us to have a very, very tight grip on it. There's still a lot of things clients need, so we utilize them, but they're both part-time. So one full-time person handling 100 plus clients in that data entry, along with the help of technology. Yeah, other than that, it's just my HR/operations, my senior accountant that oversees those 2 part-times, and then me and all technology. And I only handle there's like 4 clients that I do some mild CFO work on within the business. Other than that, we really tried this business model that when we redid it, my last one was more software as a service, VC-backed startups, really fractional controller, fractional CFO. And that takes people. That takes a lot of relationships, communication, advisory. I wanted this one to kind of run on its own. So the clients we take on are more cash basis, money in, money out, give me a little bit of help here and there. So that way we can take on, where I was only able to take on one client for maybe $5,000. Now I can take on like 10 clients for $1,000, right? So it allows us more, and it takes us way less time to do those 10 clients than it did for the one. So this business model has been very successful. And I do feel like with technology and the way that people can use ChatGPT, that we really kind of are getting into that. It's just more of a, hey, just make sure my stuff's in order and answer questions for me and tell me if I need to pay attention to this thing that comes in the mail. And that's kind of where our client base is. But my team's happy. Like I said, I just met with them, and she's like, hey, I'm going to take off Friday and Monday for my birthday. And I'm like, great. And I don't have to ask them if their stuff's done, because they care. In an accounting firm, one person, just one, can destroy an entire firm. And any accounting firm owner that's had a person on their team do something malicious will attest to that, because I've had it happen to me several times. But they can completely destroy from internally. They can destroy your clients, everything. And so to me, the less amount of people, the better.
An interesting model, and technology will keep changing. Mm-hmm. That is a question. It's this promise that technology will make things easier, but also I'm sure there's issues with, you're adding technology, it can make things harder.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've had experiences with that. I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
Well, so accountants are pretty complacent, right? We don't like change. We are saying, here's our system, this is what we do. It's not broken, it's what works, it's what I know. And then you make a change and you adapt to some sort of technology. Let's just, for example, say, let's use Intuit, because I talk about Intuit quite a bit. They're a piece of software we've used since caveman days. We've had it for forever, but they change all the time. So the systems that we have set up and how we do things don't necessarily work anymore. I have a lot of Zaps. I use Zapier like crazy set up. And my Zap set up, I set up because the software is great, but it doesn't do these couple of things. So now I'm going to manually make it do it with another piece of software. But then the software updates. and it does it on its own. But if I don't pay attention, it's doing it on its own. My Zap's doing it. We have double work. We have double information. So the problem with technology is while it's ever changing, it's wonderful. It makes our life easier. You have to be on top of it. You have to watch your processes, and you have to be so documented and understand what's going on that you can catch these things. And the only way to catch it is repetitiveness. If you use templates and you're like, wait, this is off. Why is this off? I do the same stupid thing every single month. Something's wrong. And that's kind of how we built our systems, is where we can catch things, because we're like, this doesn't feel right. This feels wrong. But it's hard. Like we use Client Hub, and we've been able to eliminate a bunch of different other software as Client Hub has evolved, because now it does all these things that we were using other pieces for. But again, by doing that, every time they add something, I now have to remove this and remove this template and change the process, because now it can all be done in one place. So while it's great, it can be time consuming, but you don't have a choice. I'm going to be real. You just don't have a choice. You just have to do it. I think the only ones that don't are the people that are still on QuickBooks Desktop. They're like, you know what? I'm almost retired. My clients are almost retired. I'm gonna coast this thing out. But if you're a younger firm, you kind of don't have a choice. You get with it, or you're gonna be phased out. And that's a very strong statement to make, but I stand by it.
Yeah, I think it's in any industry though, that it's software's here and things change quickly. I mean, we use a product called HubSpot, and I was speaking
Always
to our
changing.
success manager, and 200 features shipped, new features shipped last year.
That's insane, right? You can almost do everything with HubSpot now. They're like, we're a PM tool. We do your invoicing. We do everything. I'm like, okay, I remember when you used my contacts out of my Excel spreadsheet. Now you're doing all these things.
It can do a lot, and every new feature is a new way of doing something, changes the old way, and it's a full-time job. But that is the job, and so there were jobs that we no longer do, and people liked and loved those jobs.
Yeah.
There's people who loved certain jobs in the past that are gone, and there's jobs that people hated.
Hey,
those same jobs.
Some people used to sell phone books, add space in phone books, right? And now I do feel like a lot of our roles are going to be changing to more of managing the technology, managing the process. I still think we're a far ways away from, emotion being in computers in any way. So we still have that advisory level. And then, of course, just identifying how the pieces fit together. So why I think a lot of the work in our industry is going to be automated. There's still so much room for us to grow within it and to be even more successful than we were.
Absolutely. And it's exciting times. So for you now, where are you headed? You've done a bunch of things. You've written this book. What's next for you?
I don't know, man. I ask myself that every day. So actually, that's a lie. I have my Clone and Conquer community, my Clone and Conquer hub. And right now, my whole thing is I'm developing this community for accountants and accounting firm owners, and I'm just solving their problems. So the idea is here's my process. Here's how I build. But in the meantime, where are you guys at? Like what are, not having a firm is the hardest thing about advising people that have a firm. I want to stay within it. So my advisory really keeps me on the up and up on what the current problems are and really just solving for them. And one of the biggest things right now is inbox zero is huge for people. When I go back from work, I don't even know how to organize myself. I'm like, okay, well, let me teach you. Let me teach you how I stay inbox zero, how I organize, how I do it on my software. And I record the video step by step. I give them a scribe. I give them a template for their project management tool, a SOP if they want to, and then a statement of work for their clients if they want to invoice it. So I really just am solving issues for them and trying to be real proactive in getting things done so people can run businesses the same way. When somebody comes to me and they're like, I really need to hire somebody. I need to get out under this work. I'm like, well, what are you doing? And they'll give me I'm like, where are the top 4 things that are taking your time? The top 4 things, I'm like, I can replace that right now with 2 pieces of software that'll cost you $150 a month. Yeah, you're going to have to spend an entire weekend converting to it. But once you commit that time, you now just got back 20 hours a week. Do the math here. We're accountants, right? I think, again, in the accounting industry, it's not necessarily the change or the process. It's the letting go and the fear of, if I do this instead of this, I no longer control it. And if I don't control it, it's all going to go to hell and I can't fix it and I'll lose everything. And so it's really kind of like Well, I'm teaching you, giving you facts or hey, it's okay. We got this. We're going to keep the backup system to keep it in line until we make sure the new system works, and then we'll let go of the backup system. So, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a psychologist, but I play one at work.
That's fun. We all do. We all do. Well, this has been fantastic. And before I let you go, I'd love for people to know, you've mentioned a few things, but if they wanted to learn more from you or get access to the things you've got going on, what's the best way for them to do that?
Everything is on my website, glasswalletventures.com. The link to my hub, and my hub is free. I think it's free for 90 days because I want people to get a really good use out of it, make sure that there's value there. You can get access to my advisory. I also do a podcast, not as amazing as yours. It's called From Startup to Seven Figures or Stuck to Scaling. I think we had to change the name because of trademark. You can also find the link to my book on Amazon. There we go. Unfollow the Rules.
Yes.
I'm about to record the Audible version. Haven't done that yet, but it does have a Kindle. So yeah,
Nice.
I'll be speaking at GrowCon next year. I'm in charge of the Women Who Count conference, so I'll be handling that. All sorts of fun things. But mainly, I'm taking a break the month of December, so nobody is going to be bothering me, or not bother. Nobody bothers me. Nobody will see me anywhere except reruns the month of December.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on that, and thank you for being on the show. This has been a pleasure having you, and good luck with everything you're working on.
Thank you so much. You as well.
The pleasure is all ours. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.